Hello YouTube. So tonight I'm gonna talk about Longlegs. Now before I get started, I just want to talk about the premise first, and then I'm gonna give my insight on it. So the movie's about a young FBI agent of the name Lee Parker. I believe that's her name. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Along with her partner, and together they go on this hunt on a serial killer that they doing a lot of gruesome kills. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So now let me talk about the negatives. Now this movie is a slow burn throughout like the first and second half, and it wasn't too scary, and it wasn't too crazy on the carnage and kills, you know. Then again, this is a thriller, so if you're not into that type of movie, you know, where it's like, you know, a cat and mouse chase between like the FBI or the cops on this hunt on a serial killer, then you wouldn't like this movie. This movie is pretty reminiscent to Silence of the Lambs and, you know, movies like that. And if you like Silence of the Lambs, you will like this movie. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the negatives. Now, as for the positives, I would say like Nicolas Cage did an excellent performance on his part. Like, he plays a serial killer, and he's very, like, you know, very weird and just downright crazy, and pretty creepy as well. There's also a lot of good creepy images and eerie sounds, which makes the movie kind of like creepy and scary. And yeah, the story's good. You know, there's some good dialogue. The acting's good, especially on Nicolas Cage, you know, performance, as I mentioned earlier. And this movie has a very good ending. Like, the conclusion, you know, is actually very good. You know, there's a good plot twist at the end, and this movie does a very good job of wrapping things up, because it's like in the second half of the movie, you're trying to like figure out what's going on, and that's leave you kind of like a bit confused at first, but you know, it kind of reveals itself at the end. So in conclusion, as I mentioned before, this movie is a you know, really slow burn. There was a couple of times where I was like, you know, itching in the back of my seat, kind of like leaning down, yawning a little bit, you know. I'll admit I was kind of bored at first, at the first and second half. Like I said, this movie is a long burn. But once you get past that, like it actually turns out really well. I think a lot of people will like this movie. I can see why a lot of people put this movie, you know, pretty high. You know, it's not a bad movie. It just, you know, like I said, it's kind of like slow. But I really like the ending. And as a result, I give this movie 4 stars. I think if it wasn't for the ending, I probably would have given this movie a little bit lower than that. And that's my whole intake on this movie. It's a short review, and I hope you enjoy. And I actually do recommend watching the movie. Like I said, if you're into thriller, if you're into movies like Silence of the Lambs, you'll like this movie. Give it a shot. I think you'll like it. And that's all for tonight.